Do you know Lil Pump?
Lil Pump?
Yeah, the rapper. I learned something from him, and it stuck with me till this day. He says that whenever he goes in the studio, he always has to be looking clean.
Yeah.
Because, he freestyles the best and all that kind of stuff when he's, like, on. Mm-hmm. Like, if he just rolls into the studio with, like, sweats and just, like, not taking care of himself, his creativity is, like, shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. And I started doing that. And I swear I feel like I produce better and I mix better when I'm, like, together. I don't have to look like I'm ready to go to, red carpet event, but just,
Yeah, I like having my shoes on. That kind of has to do with the episode we did on, like, looks and appearance.
And also creativity.
Yeah, what episode was the looks one?
That was,
Episode 5, aka episode 3.797.
Yeah. So just full transparency, guys. We scrapped a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Not a couple, like, one.
We scrapped two. One. Might
scrap two. But we're learning as we go. We're trying to lead by example. Just go for it and just do it, right?
Yeah, and I think the only reason we're scrapping them is because we can provide better information according to the topic.
Yeah. And don't stop. Oh, you know what? They said it, so you know what? I'm not even gonna release his music because I could do better. Like, we're actually still recording, and we're still producing and we're still doing it, Yeah. So don't stop, But feel free to pivot whenever you need to.
Yeah, cool.
What are we talking about today?
The worst disease known to man.
The worst disease known to man. But before we go on. Welcome to the NIW Space Podcast. My name is Ife.
I'm Jackson.
And this is the NIW Space Podcast, where we talk to you about the new space of the music industry, talking about the ups and downs of being a recording artist from the perspective of the producers and engineers that you work with every day.
That's good. I actually kind of like the way you worded it that time more.
Yeah. I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. But what is this disease called? Because, this is plaguing the world,
Listen, this disease right here does not have a cure. It can be managed, right? There's no vaccine for it. There's no cure for it. It's not like, cancer. There's this new breakthrough for cancer where it's like DNA, whatever, synthesis or whatever, vaccine. There's no cure for it.
And that's terrifying because this disease is spreading rapidly and fast.
Yes.
Take cover now.
Most recording artists have it. A lot of producers have it. And I suffer from bouts of it sometimes.
Me too.
Yeah. It's called Demoitis.
Oh gosh, this episode's probably going to get taken down.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Demoitis today.
What is it?
Demoitis is a mental disorder where an artist or creative producer or whatever, they're so used to the demo of the song that whenever the song gets finally mixed or polished or whatever process it needs to, they don't like the new version because they're extremely attached to the demo. That disease is called Demoitis.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And I totally get it.
Yeah.
It makes sense though, like you when you have that magic moment, like say you're recording a song and you have your recording presets and you record it and you sing a certain harmony in a certain way that favors whatever recording chain you have on, and you really enjoy a very specific thing in that song. And it's like multiple of those across the whole demo that won't exactly get recreated in like a final recording session or final production session.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see past that. It's hard to see the magic in the new thing you're doing.
Yeah. Demoitis just makes it difficult for artists to accept improvements to the song.
Yeah.
Like, no, it doesn't sound like that. Like, so why are we even doing this in the first place? That's usually what, I'm thinking in my head. Like, what are we trying to achieve here? Right? Do you have any crazy stories about Demoitis? Either you or somebody you were
The
working
worst
with?
case of it I ever had was I recorded a song myself, and it was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, my computer was a 2018 MacBook Pro, and I used a Focusrite because I was in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and I just had my mobile setup with me. Anyway, I was just getting all these cracks and pops, and I guess it was the computer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, what is that? Is that like the connection between the interface and the computer?
Man, it's hard to tell. Mostly cracks and pops. Your buffer size was probably wrong or something.
Whatever it was, there was a lot of them. And I recorded this whole song at the house studio, and then we ended up going to a big studio where I re-recorded everything, and the guy mixed and mastered it, and he did an amazing job.
Mm-hmm.
But the song sounded completely different from the demo I had made,
Mm-hmm.
to the point where I knew his mix was like technically really good,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't see past the
Difference.
garbage, like overcompressed, just like flat mix that I had done. And we ended up firing the guy because of it. We didn't finish the song.
Fired who?
The mix engineer.
I thought you said he did a great job.
He did, but we couldn't see past how much we liked our demo
Oh, I
that
see.
we let him go.
Okay.
And then like years later, I go back and I listen to it, and it's like a blooming mix. Like he took his time. Like this guy's studio was crazy. And he actually, he's one of the people that Antares sends their plugins to for him to test them out before they release them.
Okay, let's call that Demoitis type A.
Okay.
There's different. I feel like there's different types of Demoitis, right?
Okay.
That one was more. I feel like to me, there were elements of the song that you weren't able to recreate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? As an artist, in that situation, you were the artist, right?
Yeah.
Or whoever else was performing music parts or whatever, weren't able to recreate that. So, that's where it felt, kind of like fell apart. That's where the disconnect happens,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's type A. And I honestly feel like I totally understand that. I respect your decision to, scrap the song or whatever the case was, right? But let's talk about Demoitis type B. The BITCH one. The one where the song is literally the exact same performance,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh, like the recording and production session
Same.
is the demo, and it's
Yes.
got sent off for like mixing,
Yes.
mastering. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Now, I mean, and this is not being the objective kind where like, okay, the mix actually wasn't good. The A&R likes the mix. Manager likes the mix. Everybody but the artist is just not happy with it because they sat with that demo for a month and a half, 2 months, 3 months,
Bumping
right?
it.
I have a crazy story. I'm gonna jump off for a second. Crazy story. Friend of mine, dope engineer. He was working with an artist, really big artist who's not as big anymore, but he was huge in the 2000s, right? Working on a song with him just last year, or maybe early this year, I don't know, but not too long ago. And this artist would not approve the final mix. Like, hey, it's not right. And they kept going back and forth. They got to like version 15, something crazy like that. You know what he did? He took the demo, MP3, and mastered it. He sends it back. Artist goes, "Oh my God, I knew I could believe in you. I'm proud of you, man. This is amazing, man. I'm almost in tears right now." He took the MP3, mastered it, and sent it back to him. And at that point, he was just like shaking his head. I'm like, we're on FaceTime, and he showed me the face he was making and all that. It was just funny as heck. And like to
crazy.
me, that is the ultimate version of,
Like
you know
they
what I'm
have the
saying?
disease. Their brain is fully infected, and the
Yeah.
disease will only.
That thing is spread.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So now, whose fault is it? Is the artist tripping because they're just that much in love with it, or did the engineer not do a good job? I'll tell you what I think.
Mm.
I think that in that particular situation, there was a communication lapse.
Yeah.
I think that there were things that the artist wasn't able to communicate successfully to the engineer to make sure that they retain or even enhance certain elements that they really love, and then just not mess with them, right? But then free reign to clean up that low end, make it pop in subwoofers, and make that top end sizzle but smooth at the same time, and do you think. Do your magic.
Yeah.
Or don't touch this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
I don't think they had a good enough conversation about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that would just go back onto documenting the strong points of your demo,
Mm-hmm.
and becoming knowledgeable on the descriptive terms. Even though it's mostly the engineer's job to figure out, based off what the artist wants, how to get there, the artist should still it's only going to help if you are a little more educated in explaining what do you like about your track.
Yeah.
And what do you want, what do you need help with?
Yeah.
If you just send a song, if somebody just sends me a track outs to mix and they don't give me any reference points, anything they like about their mix, I'm just going to take that as they're doing a full detailed service.
Yeah.
Clean her up, the whole thing.
What about communication, lapse in communication? That's easy to say, but do you have a checklist of things that you could possibly ask to make it easy for your artist to understand what you're talking about?
I'm sure there's you could make some sort of categorize some sort of checklist. Like you've got your frequency checklist. You've got your dynamics checklist. They're very descriptive, like EQ. Oh wait, beep that out. That EQ where they use descriptive words, which the one we're coming out with is going to be much better, guys.
Yeah.
2035 maybe.
That's too far.
I'm kidding.
We can do that in 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. Mark our words.
But I think you're saying something about conversation you can have with the artist along the lines of frequency response and frequencies and then dynamics. I think that might be too granular. What do you think about this? Vocals. Do you like the way the vocals sound? If yes, then move on from the vocals and go with something else. Or, the vocals sound weird. Oh, okay. Let's zoom in a little bit. You don't like the vocals?
Well, just breaking it down is what I mean. So vocals, the category it'd be vocals, and you'd have your frequency category, dynamics, but it'd be described you would be checking off it'd be a box, loose, tight.
Okay.
And then it'd be 1 to 10. Where how much do you like how tight or loose your vocal? Something like that. Very descriptive, simple terms. And it's just a form you have that whenever somebody comes to you for a mix, will you fill this out?
And then when all else fails, ask for a reference.
Yeah.
Ask for a reference. Whose vocals do you like? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Whose vocals do you like? You want to sound like this or like that? For instance, Nicki Minaj's rap is always super tight, fast compression, quick release. But it's also slow attack. So it's very plucky sounding. And that's the sound, or maybe Adele, which is everything's really gentle, really smooth, and how do you want it to be, or a Lauryn Hill type of vibe, so having being able to have reference points like that is, I think, really, really good. I think that could be very helpful when all else fails with, talking about those elements that you just mentioned, which are the essence of a song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
That honestly seems like it would create a cure. We're working on the cure right now.
Do you know why Demoitis can't be cured? Because it's going to happen again on the next song. Because we're about to finish the song.
We're working on a regimen. It's physical therapy. You're gonna break another bone, but you're just gonna have to go right back to physical therapy.
It's more I feel like it's more therapy. counseling type of therapy where it's like just ongoing.
Yeah. Never will stop.
Yeah, because it's a mental thing.
Apparently, the more you talk about your problems, I think this might have, I don't know what book I was reading about it. The more you talk about them,
I know
the
exactly
worse
what
they
you're talking
get.
about. I know it. Yeah. You're just kind of like shedding.
It's like, oh yeah, I was like,
just kind of like feeding them.
I was taught the opposite. I feel like growing up throughout life, like you need to open up and always talk about your problems. I get like letting someone in, that's huge. Somebody that you can share things with, but like revisiting, you're feeding the beast.
Yeah. I think that I agree with you. Maybe people should be doing more. I'm not an expert, so please don't whatever. But maybe it should be more of instead of focusing on one thing that you have an issue with, right? You know, maybe keep it balanced. Keep it like more general. Like, for instance, like there are people who are grieving over like loss.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that loss is always going to be, happen forever. If I feel like if somebody's going to a therapist and talking about that loss, like for the next 15 years, yeah, that's going to keep going. But if they go, and they're dealing with loss and they're getting counseling for that at first, and then eventually, instead of talking about the loss, they're talking about things that they're doing to cope. Like, how is, you're hiking now. What are you thinking about when you're hiking? What kind of mental exercise are you doing? And, how's it helping you at work? And, you know what I mean?
Like making like it a means of graduating out of that thought process. Like you're now shifting your thoughts towards something
else. You're still doing, it's still
but they don't
therapy.
want, like, I feel like a lot of therapy things are like, I mean, that's how they make their money is by you coming back.
No. Well, we don't care about the therapists here. We care about our mental health.
We're therapists for the sound.
No.
We massage it until it's nice and loose and relaxed.
No, we're coworkers. I consider myself, when I'm working with somebody as working with an artist, as a producer or an engineer, I think of that person as my teammate. Like we're on the same team, trying to, get somewhere. You know what I mean? We're trying to both, because at the end of the day, a lot of producers, they have stake, right? Literally, they have stake in the song.
Yeah.
They have, pub, they have, points in the master, whatever the case might be. So they have a stake in it, so it's important that it feels like a team and not like, okay, here's your song and, next. No, shouldn't feel like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Teamwork makes the dream work. The dream works when the team works together. So
Demoitis, bro, like for real. This, man, I really want somebody to hear this and be, you know what I'm saying? Like, do something about it.
And they're like, oh, that's what's wrong with me.
Yeah. Yeah. So are we concluding that the way to manage Demoitis, since it's always going to be, it's chronic, it's not going anywhere, but the way to work with it and manage it is to have a situation where you have good communication with your mix engineer or producer, whatever stage you're in.
Yeah, and I think it should be openly talked about beforehand.
And everybody should have an open mind.
Yeah. This is a thing. We're probably going to run into it to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
These are the steps we can take initially to try and minimize that.
Right.
By figuring out what are you in love with.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know you love something until you lose something.
Yeah. So we're taking the things that the artist loves, enhancing that, and then we're fixing everything else.
Yep.
That's it.
There'd be categories. There'd just be an empty box at the end of this mysterious sheet that doesn't exist yet. What do you want to see not change at all?
That might be a hard question to answer because they don't know any better. I feel like they don't know any better. Artists don't, because in the sense that, they're just focused on the song. They're not thinking about like, okay, definitely, keep this and this, because the song might need to, you might need to keep 95%, right, on this song, and the next song you might need to keep only 5%. So that might be hard.
All right,
You
then
know?
we'll scratch the box out. Maybe every other survey we'll put it on there and run a trial and see what works the best.
Yeah.
I actually want to develop this sheet though. Like I'm gonna do this today. Maybe
Okay.
not. Maybe tomorrow.
Let me see it. I want to see when you're
I
done.
will.
And if it's dope, we'll cover it on another episode.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll share it. And we'll put a link so people can download it and use it.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of a song right now, and we're on revision version 6.
Okay.
And it's just like this. There was no reason to be going through this, but there was no. He wanted like the verses to sound exactly how they sound in this other song. None of this was communicated up front until version 3. You know, like changing their mind. Like, how are you? What about that? Like the undecisive artist that, as it's going, like
It's not really
they're-
demoitis though. That's something else, right?
What is the opposite of a demo?
A master.
Not like in specifically audio, not specifically audio terms. Let's see. What opposite of demo? Well, there is no antonym for demo. Final. That's it. That's the word I was looking for, and I forgot why
final,
I
final?
forgot why I was bringing it up.
That's it.
honestly.
The master is the final. Same thing.
Yeah, I forgot why I was bringing it up. So, next point.
No, you're good. You're good.
It was something decent, dude. Oh, like the opposite of demoitis would be like you have no idea where the track is supposed to
Oh,
go.
the opposite. You said demo. You meant to say demoitis. The opposite of demoitis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Would be like
Dang.
you're like in love with this version of the song. No, you don't have an endpoint.
No, I think the opposite of demoitis.
Is like you
Is-
want it to sound exactly like something it can't sound like.
No, I think the opposite of demoitis is being in love with whatever that producer or engineer is going to do to it. So, for instance, like what's his name, Jason Joshua, right?
Uh-huh.
Some people will send their stuff to Jason Joshua to get mixed, right?
Yeah.
And they'll just be like, Jason Joshua mixed it. Oh, I love it, just because Jason Joshua mixed it.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of demoitis.
Is this him?
Just being like overly biased. That is not Jason Joshua. Jason is spelled Jaycen.
This looks like Fat Nick. You heard of that guy?
I mean, that could be Jason Joshua if he gained a whole bunch of weight. But that is not Jason Joshua. But yeah, so I think that's the opposite of it.
Yeah, this guy.
And that in itself might be a problem. Just being in love with a mix just because, of who mixed it.
Yeah. Well, I think you've said it already. One of your clients went to go out of their way to work with one of Gunna's engineers.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
That
it was
they
like,
didn't.
oh yeah,
They didn't have
they
final.
worked with Gunna, they worked with this and that person.
They didn't have final. They
they
didn't
flew
have
out to
finalitis.
Arizona. Huh?
They didn't have finalitis. They saw through it.
They saw through it. Yeah, yeah.
It's funny. So, on that note, actually, one of my longtime clients reached out to me like 3 or 4 days ago
Mm-hmm.
and sends me a track that he had mixed by another engineer
Mm-hmm.
that worked with YB and Namir
Mm-hmm.
on one of his latest albums or something that didn't do too well. And he's like, something does this sound good to you? Was it even worth sending him a track? I listened to it. I was like, it's terrible. And then I was like, there's a reason you're doubting it. But it's funny. He just like assumed just because this guy, he saw through it too. Most people that have had experience though, recording music, like have a decent idea of what they should sound like. Like there's a certain threshold. The bar is set to a certain height.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I respect every artist's opinion and ear, especially for their own music. But I just think that the most important thing is
he's actually gonna have us mix the song together. Our first new space client.
let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's do it. Let's do it.
according to all the pricing we discussed and everything.
Dope. I love it.
Yeah, when I was thinking about it, I was like, why are there not like engineered teams? it would like take this like I'd push in this direction, you'd pull in this like until it's this. We're both like, wow, we covered every little possible thing that
there actually are in a sense. Most people that have the luxury of that are people who have, like assistants, but those assistants are just being called assistants. They're really good at what they do either. Like I know CLA, Chris Low Algae, he has assistants, and they literally go in and like they kind of like get the record to a certain place before he comes in and does his thing.
Yeah.
I've seen there's another guy that I know who he'll start a mix, get it to a certain point, and send it off to somebody else to kind of like finish it or whatever.
Yeah.
People do it, I think more people would do it if engineers got paid more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation. But I actually do. I use my audio movers a lot. We haven't done it yet because you're kind of close. But engineers who are really far, that I really love their stuff or whatever, I'll send them an audio movers link and like, dude, listen to this. What do you think? And like, oh man, that's dope. But look, check the low end. It's sitting right, but it just need to be tighter. I just grab a transient shaper. Boom, boom, boom. Oh yeah. Okay, there, right there. All right, stop. And we'll do that from here to like Nashville.
Yeah.
Or here to like the UK.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's fun. I like doing that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I like. When I make music, I want to learn to let go of just like becoming too attached to what I like my first go round. It can always be a little better. Not that you want to chase perfection though.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you find the balance?
At some point, you just gotta like let it go. Even this whole thing we're talking about with Demoitis, sometimes you just gotta decide like, hey, what am I really doing? Artists have to look at themselves like, hey, am I just second guessing because I'm just being, just being fearful about the song doing good or not, or whatever the case is. So I think that's important. You have to really, really self-reflect and go that route with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are some symptoms of this disease? Like, how do I go self-diagnose myself?
If you keep referencing the demo, and you say, and there's go back and listen to the demo, the demo. Oh, the demo. If there's just a reference back to the demo without any clear direction and what it is about the demo, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
Because maybe you're listening to the demo in a room that favors the demo in that space, but then this new mix is going to work everywhere, but you're not hearing that. You know what I mean?
Your room might be whack.
Room might be trash.
Might be garbage.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, it just all depends, on that as well. So I don't know, man. I respect. I think Demoitis, we call it disease or whatever. Whoever nicknamed it, God bless you. But when you hear itis, in medical terms, that's inflammation, right? And that's always not a good thing, right? But it's a bad thing because it hinders progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's work around it. Let's use it. Let's use the good part of it to move forward. Let's have good conversation about the song. Let's stay open-minded. Let's trust the team around us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if your manager and your producer and your whoever else you work with is like, yo, what are you talking about? This is dope. And you're like, ugh, then really, really consider that.
Yeah, you might be like zeroed in on too much of a specific part and not listening to the track as this like this entity that stands alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're like listening to the vocal and then you're listening to the guitar, not the way they're all like relating to each other.
Yeah, because it's nasty work if somebody just takes your MP3. You don't want anybody just taking your MP3 and mastering that. Yeah. And then you're happy.
Right.
It's terrible.
Oh, man. I'd be so upset.
Yeah.
I'm not upset about a good quality master though. That's for sure.
Nah.
Never, ever, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I like. I always take a step back and just try to view a song as the full thing. Sometimes breaks too help a lot with that. Like when I gave my story a little earlier about the track we went and we ended up firing the guy. Like when I came back to it years later, I listened to it as
That
a
just sounds so
song.
mean, by the way. You fired him. Like, this guy just got to move away from it, right?
Nope, he was getting paid and stopped getting paid. Fired, right?
Dang, that sucks.
He's fired.
But it wasn't his fault.
No, he excelled. He did a great job. I didn't know that at the time. But poor guy. He's obviously very successful and obviously very confident in his craft. He probably was thinking those guys have no idea what they're talking about and was able to go to sleep perfectly happy that night.
If you ever send me a song to work on with you, and it's a different performance from the demo, I'm just gonna ghost you, bro. Just let you know right now. 'Cause you ain't firing me. Just letting you know. That's cool.
No. Yeah.
But I think one thing when we have a guest next, we're definitely gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about Demoitis. I want to hear from the perspective of other artists.
Yeah.
And other producers and
We'll
engineers.
debate.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I know people got crazy stories. If you got a crazy story about Demoitis and what you think about it, please put it in the comments. We want to hear it.
It'd be funny, like like the presidential debates. They have like the two little stands, and they go stand up there with the mics. We should have some of those, and like host debates amongst the music communities.
Ugh, it would never end. YouTube, man. Do you
In
see what happens on
Wisconsin.
YouTube? Like this dude, somebody wanted to argue with me just yesterday. It's like, he was being so sarcastic or, like just being whatever. Because I mentioned something about the West Audio 2BQ. And I was like, he was like, oh, it's a lot like another compressor that's like a passive, like a solid state. And I was like, oh, no, it's more like a massive passive, which is a 2BQ. A lot of the same frequency. And he goes, LOL, what you're talking about. I was like, you know what? You got it.
I know you went to his page.
I didn't.
No?
I was not interested, dude.
You got to go check, because anytime they do that, he obviously had no idea what he was talking about.
What? So
it would just feel better just to see the Mackies on his desk.
I didn't have any idea what he was talking about. I had to me, no need.
That was a fun episode.
That was a dope episode. That was episode number, we don't know what number that was. Talking about Demoitis, man. Yeah. Please put in the comments what you guys think about it.
Yeah.
Demoitis.
Yeah. And email us.
And if you're working on a record right now and you're dealing with it,
we want to hear.
Yeah. We want to hear about it.
Yeah. We want to be the next Simon Cowles.
Yeah.
Just a lot nicer.
If you want to, you can send us the demo and the version that you're struggling with.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I want to hear some examples of that.
Oh yeah, dude, you were right the whole time. Your engineer's terrible. Dude, do you ever reach out to people and they're like, hey man, I hear I mix, and I hear your sound could use some really good mixing, and they're just like, oh no, I mix myself. Like people think that mixing is like car washing. You can take it to any shop anywhere and it gets the thing done.
Yeah.
Like they don't think that there's
you can
a better
mix it
level
yourself.
of it.
I mean, do you know how to mix?
Right, but then they'll also be like, "Oh, I have an engineer." It's like, okay. It's not really the answer to the question that's luring above.
Yeah. In the arts, man, I really feel like people, like friends hire their friends in the arts. It's not like going to a doctor. I don't want, the doctor's best friend to, don't send me to your best friend specialist, just because you're your best friend. Send me the person who's the most knowledgeable and knows the stuff, right?
Yeah.
But in the arts, people don't do that. People will refer or work with their best friend or whoever they like as a person.
Yeah. But it's like it's nothing. It's not like usually that you don't end up replacing somebody. Like it's what we're afraid of, that we're gonna get, that like our friend, say like my friend's a producer and I start hanging out with another producer, it wouldn't take away from what my other friend can do. Like that's what a lot of people have the mindset of, is that we're gonna be replaced.
Yeah.
Like you could both be, I don't know. I would definitely try to take their client stuff, if I'm being honest.
I think that's enough for everybody, bro. I think
Yeah.
there's enough. There's enough. There are enough clients. There's enough music for everybody to work on. So yeah, I don't worry about that too much.
Yes, sir.
We can't stop now.
Yeah.